I had this lofty goal, this lofty dream of what health looks like for me, and I couldn't make it because I had an injury. And I had to get sober about that. Hey guys, it's me, Sonia of Sonia W Coaching, and I'm super excited because we are back again for the third week, and we are talking about the third step in the stairwell to intentional living. I am super excited that you're here, all right? But before I get into it, let me introduce myself. Hey guys, my name is Sonia of Sonia W Coaching, where we help overwhelmed, multi-passionate women learn how to acknowledge, live, execute, and win their dreams. We're all about making sure that dreams meet reality here at Sonia W. So let me get into this, guys. I'm super excited because now we're going to get into the nitty gritty of things, right? So with the stairwell to intentional living, we got 4 areas or 4 steps to go up, right? We have the acknowledgement phase. We're taking time to acknowledge that we are worth dreaming, and that our dreams are worth the time it takes to establish them, right? So we get to the acknowledgement phase. That's the base level. That's the first rung. Then we take one step up and we begin to live. We live by principle. It's time to take those dreams and actually establish some principles to stand on and to get us focused in the right direction, right? And then the next step, and that's what we're talking about today, is execution. We're getting to work, y'all. We are executing by process today. This is the third step. Third step. Talking about I forgot the guy on Martin when he talked about I'm from the 5th flow. That's how I felt just now. The third step. I really mean the third step. Anyway, we're talking about the third step, and that's executing by process. You've taken the time for your dreams. You've decided to live by principle, and you laid out your principles. You laid out your purpose statements. Well, now it's time to really get to work. And sometimes this might be the hardest part, right? It's kind of fun to dream. It's kind of fun to like put cute sayings together and put things together and, cutesy little things, right? Well, now it's time to work and to get to the point where we actually see some action happen. And that's what happens with it. We're executing by process. So what is the process? The process is actually laying down where you are right now and then establishing goals. Goals are the process. There's other ways of processing life and all those different things for intentional living, but the basis of this step is to actually take your dreams, figure out your reality, and begin to figure out how to close the gap. Okay? So, we've established that the 6 main areas of your life are really key and important to beginning that intentional living life, right? Everybody has these 6 areas in our lives. We have a relationship with God, our body, our mind, our family, friends, and finances, right? These are the 6 main keys in almost everybody's life. We've established our dreams for those things. We've established our purpose statements for those things, right? Well, now we got to get sober. I talked about establishing the atmosphere last week, right? So taking a moment, making the ambiance right, getting grateful and thankful for every single area of your life, right? Do that for me again, because now this one gets a little harder to do. Because I'm going to get you to be sober about where you are. Taking a moment to decide, okay, what is the truth of where I am in my health? For me, I'll be honest, the health one is a struggle for me. And one thing that this year really made me mad was that I had a goal to run and to run quickly. Like I really wanted to run a 10-minute mile by July. I can tell you now I didn't make it, but we're gonna move it on to the next half of the year. But What I did see was, and the reason why I didn't make it, a couple of reasons, but one of the main reasons is that I re-injured my knee somehow. I got on a treadmill, I was excited, and all of a sudden, I couldn't walk upstairs. It was crazy. But anyway, the reason why I talk about that is that I had to get sober about where I was. I had this lofty goal, this lofty dream of what health looks like for me, and I couldn't make it because I had an injury. And I had to get sober about that. When you establish your life plan and you lay out your dreams, you lay out your purposes, you write down where you would love to see yourself, you should be evaluating this regularly. So every quarter, I take a moment to look at my life plan and then look at my purpose statements, to look at the dreams that I had, to look at the goals that I established, and write down, well, where am I right now? And it can be a sobering thing to do. But it's so important to helping you walk intentionally or live intentionally, okay? So today we are going to get sober. Take a moment and think about each one of those areas of your life and ask the question, where am I? Where are you in your relationship with God? And ask the question, how do I feel about that? So the two questions that you got to ask, where am I? And how do I feel about that? I encourage you to write it down. Where are you with your relationship with God? Is it where you want to be? How do you feel about that? Where are you with your relationship with your body? How do you feel about that? Your mind, how do you feel about that? Your family, your friends, your relationships, all of those things, your money. Where are you and how do you feel? Tell me. Are you telling me? I hope you are. So when you do that, now you get a visual of where you're at. You know what your dream is. You know where you are. And right now, executing by process is going to be the thing that's going to help you close the gap between where you want to be and where you are. So you gotta take that time to really get serious about it and sober and honest with yourself about it. Okay? Now, one thing that I find sometimes with this is that we can get discouraged. When we actually see just how big that gap is, we get discouraged. And I wanted to say today that to take heart, God is with you. Acknowledge that you are far away from your target, but the fact that you took the time to do that, you're doing something that is beyond what many others are doing. Some people are just living life as it is. I love what John Maxwell says. He says that experience is not the best teacher. Evaluated experience is. So you are now taking time to evaluate where you are so that you can actually continue to walk towards that life of intentional living that you are wanting to get to. So take a moment, get sober about where you are today, and know that this is the best time. Because the fact that you are not dead today means that you have another day to get just a little bit closer to the ideal, closer to where you want to be, closer to living out your dreams. That is the awesome part about this. The fact that you're here today and you're listening to my video means that you have the means to make a move towards your dreams, right? So that's the cool thing. It might be hard, it might be sobering, but the awesome thing about it is that today can be the day that you make a difference and that you change everything, okay? So once you've established that, I want you to take some time and begin to write down, okay, I know where I am, I know where I want to go. What are some things that I can do to change that? That's the next question to ask yourself. What are some things, so for me, when it comes to my health, right? Some things that I can do now is to be consistent with my physical therapy exercises, like continually do those every day. Establish a workout routine, run or walk a half mile every other day or something like that. Like Things like that. Begin to just write down a couple of things that you can do. When it comes to your intellect, is there a book that you wanted to read? Did you want to set a goal of reading a certain amount of books? Your finances. Maybe one of the things is that you want to get out of debt, or you want to pay for your kids' college, or you want to buy a new car, right? Take the time and just write a couple of things down for each one of those principles. And now we get to the next step. The next process or part of this process is to actually establish goals. If we were working together, we would have taken all of those different things that you wrote down and then taken a moment to see, well, which few of these do I want to focus on? If you're doing this at the beginning of the year, I would say take 10, at most 10 items across all of your different principal areas, and now establish some real goals for each one of those things, right? And the best way to make a goal is to make it smarter. I talk about smarter goals in several other videos on the site, so check it out. I might put a little card somewhere. I don't know where I think the card goes up here. Up here? Up here? Don't know. It's gonna be up there where I talk about smarter goals. But smarter goals is something that was established by a productivity guy that I really, really like. His name is Michael Hyatt. And he says that a good goal is specific, measurable, actionable, risky, time-bound, exciting. It actually excites you. And relevant to your life, or able to be put into a place in your life. So for instance, if you wanted to get out of debt, buy a car, and I don't know, buy a house, but you don't make a good amount of money right now, then you're gonna have to figure out which one of those you're gonna do first, right? That's what we mean by making it relevant for your life, okay? And that's how you process and get through to the execute by process a step in the intentional living stairwell. Okay, now a couple of tips for you. Again, I talk about this in some videos, but what I would ask you to do when you're creating these goals is to establish your why. Don't do more than 10 in a year, and make sure that you spread out the due dates across the year, right? Don't say everything, I'm gonna get it all done by December 31st, because what's gonna happen is October 1st, and you're gonna be like, I did nothing. But when you take some time and say, okay, I'm going to hit this goal in April, I'm gonna hit that goal in August, then it gives you time to focus in, get things done, and then move on to the next one. I sometimes suggest at the most 3 to 4 goals per quarter, no more than that. I even think sometimes 3 might be too much, but sometimes people are overachievers, and that's all right. You can do it. But we talk about that, right? We talk about the overwhelm and how we as multi-passionate folks need to really establish priorities, because we can be doing like 10 million things and stressed out and not moving forward. Yeah, don't do that. Remember, we're trying to get planted. We're trying to get planted in the things that we need to do. Anyway, and then spread them out 3 to 4 per quarter. Sometimes I think that's kind of high, but whatever. And those are a couple of tips that I have for you when it comes to executing by process. Now, next week, we're going to be talking about the last step in the intentional living stairwell. Now, the cool thing is that these stairwells are things that you're just going to continually walk up in your life. As you get older and you continue to move intentionally, you are going to see your life starting to feel like, yo, this is what I want to do. This is how I want to live. I feel good, because you are getting closer and closer to the ideal. You are walking down a path that is established, right? And it's something that gives you something to look at. I love how God says that man makes plans, but God establishes them. You are making plans so that God can establish them, and so that you have direction in your life, and it's gonna be good. So next week we're going to talk about the last part, and that is winning by practice, or win by practice. We're going to talk about practical ways to actually keep doing this continually, right? Because you win when you practice. I love growing up in band. One of the things that my band teacher always used to say was that we practice like a performance and we perform like a practice. It's the practice that is going to get you to excellence, that's going to get you to that intentional living space. So the last week, we're going to talk about how the practices that you employ in your life every day will help you win. I'm excited about this, okay? So come back next week for that last step. And if you like this, go ahead and like the video. Go ahead. You should have did it already, okay? You should have did it already. And if you haven't yet, go ahead and subscribe. Subscribe so that I know that this is content that's going to help you grow and become more intentional with the life that God has given you. He has given you something amazing. You're not here for nothing. And it's so important that we figure out how to maximize everything that God has for us through living intentionally. All right. So I'm excited. We're going to come back next week. It's going to be great. And in the meantime, I would love to hear from you. I would love to know, well, what are some goals that you're going to try to hit this year? What is something that you're trying to execute in your life this year? Okay? Make sure that you subscribe. I want to see you next week. Have an awesome day wherever you are.